Hello, everybody, and welcome to FlowWorks 101. Today's presentation is going to last approximately 40 minutes, and at that time we will answer any questions that you might have. There's a chat feature as part of this webinar, and that's how you're going to post questions. We have got everybody muted, and you need to direct your questions to either me or to Trent Cammons, and we will answer them again at the end of the formal presentation. So, speaking of Trent, hey Trent, are you there?
Yeah, hey Kevin, how's it going?
Going great. It's good day for webinar. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Happy to. So yeah, my name is Trent Cammons. I have been with FlowWorks for just under 2 years. I initially started as a marketing and communications manager and have now shifted into an account manager role. I graduated from the University of Arizona and am now working remotely in Denver, Colorado.
Excellent, excellent. What's the weather like out there in Denver?
So no more snow. We are actually, it's good. Sun's out. It's a little chilly, 35 degrees or so, but yeah, it's looking like a nice Friday.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit further east of you. I'm in Kansas City, of course, and I'm Kevin Marsh. I'm Vice President of Sales for FlowWorks, and I've spent most of my adult life in the flow monitoring business. Looking at some of our attendees, I recognize a lot of names there, and I think some of you probably know me or at least recognize my name from either my time at Marsh McBurney, had a lot of years there, also about 10 years at Hawk, and also Opti RTC. And I've even done some private consulting within the industry. So here we go. Okay, first of all, one of the big buzzwords that you've heard out there for the last couple of years is Internet of Things, also known as IoT. And it basically refers to this growing connectivity of and between the many devices we interact with every day. And just sort of go to this next graph, it sort of gives you a good example of the kind of growth we're talking about. This infographic shows you this rapid and accelerating increase in this interconnectedness. And it's really pretty extraordinary when you think about it. And, as I say up here, it's not only is this coming, but and it's actually here, and it's been here for quite a while. You can see, sort of point out here with my little arrow on the bottom, along this line, before people were even using the expression Internet of Things, there were flow meters that were using the internet to move data around, and prior to that, of course, people were using modems and direct connections, back to servers and things of that nature. And again, just for put things in context, FlowWorks was founded in 2009, so we've been around for a while, and basically it coincided with somebody coining this expression, the Internet of Things. And so FlowWorks has been there since the beginning, and we're certainly well poised and have been using all this time to make the most of this revolution in the way data can be moved around. So Trent, I'm going to let you take this slide and explain what Internet of Things looks like in the context of FlowWorks.
Perfect. Yeah. So for FlowWorks, some of our major advantages are the flexibility of our software and that we are hardware agnostic. So as you can see from the top of the window here, any data logger that is, whether it be related to air and water quality, mining, rain gauge and climate stations, manholes and lift stations, you're able to incorporate all of that into FlowWorks just because simply we are able to speak to any logger, whether it be Hawk, ADS, ISCO, any of those main brands. We're actually able to talk to all of that and get that all incorporated into one place, which will eliminate any data silos or anything that can really cause problems where you're not having as much clarity on the data that you are receiving. So from here, also, we'll actually notice that FlowWorks has reached an early milestone this year that's been something that we're actually pretty excited about. So we just got 15 billion data points, and we're still growing. So this year we expect to increase that by another generous amount, but this is something that we're very excited about and just really highlights how connected FlowWorks can be with the Internet of Things. So Kevin,
That's
I know,
amazing.
yeah, so I mean, on top of the cloud, that FlowWorks is on. I guess could you tell us a little bit about why Azure, the Microsoft Azure Cloud, was chosen for FlowWorks?
Yeah, so right, before we get too far into this, we should talk about the cloud. FlowWorks recently migrated from a system of on-site servers to a fully cloud-based system. And it's important for a lot of reasons. And most of the companies that people talk to out there or maybe already using for data services are generally hosting their data on their own servers that they have, within their premises. And there's certainly, there's some issues associated with that, and there's a reason that people are moving to the cloud. We've partnered with Microsoft, and we're using their Azure cloud system, and there's literally dozens of really good reasons that we made this decision. But the ones that are probably most important to people on this presentation or listening to it are security. And this always tops the list of what things that people are concerned about. And Microsoft and their Azure platform is actually they're the first company to achieve Department of Defense Level 5 certification across the cloud platform infrastructure and all the productivity tools. That's a very, very big thing. Reliability. Microsoft's got data centers across 19 regions, but that's basically all around the world. And they've got multiple regions in North America. And what that means is that you've got a lot of redundant data centers that are moving data around, so that you wind up with a really high data availability. In the case of Microsoft and Azure, they've actually got a 99.95% availability of data. So that's a very huge thing. And then scalability is important too, and this really speaks to that number that you just showed us, Trent, the 15 billion data points. By using the Azure cloud, we can support 100 customers or 1,000 customers, or even if it was possible, 1 million customers without any degradation. It's not like bringing on more customers is going to slow the system down for the customers we've already got. So we can grow this company as large as your imagination can take you, and every customer will still have the same security, reliability, and just basic speed and access to all of their data. So that's a big deal and something we're very proud of. Okay, so this also takes us to, and this will sort of like build up the system here. How do people connect to FlowWorks? How does the data, your flow meter data, your rain gauge data, any other data that you want to have on the FlowWorks, how does it get to us? And there's a number of ways that this happens. And won't go into great detail here, but just let you know the basics and some of the companies that we're already working with. So first of all, there's a direct connection to our FTP service, and so there's actually loggers out there, and there's only a couple at the moment that can push data from the logger directly to our FTP servers on a regular call-in schedule. And right now, ADS and their Triton flow meters, and as well as some of Yokogawa's flow meters can do this. Now, there's also FlowWorks hosted device software. So we actually run a lot of the software that vendors sell or provide to their customers. And what we do in this case is that customers' loggers are simply relaying data to FlowWorks and to the server software that we're running for that particular manufacturer, and then it gets ingested into FlowWorks for the customer to see and to bring all the data together. And we're currently doing that with Kellogg, and we're running Kellogg Enterprise. Also, ISCO's FlowLink Pro, ADS Profile, Campbell Scientific and their LoggerNet, Sutron Autopol, Sutron XConnect, FTS Autocaller, and Isodac XDQ Server. So they all fall within that. Also, we've got the client-hosted device software, and so this is a situation where some clients have their own server software, and the data goes from there, and they want to bring it into FlowWorks. And so FlowWorks can provide remote integrations with your, meaning the client server software, and this is all done through the internet. And right now we're doing that with ADS and Teleserve, ADS Profile, Kellogg Enterprise, ISCO FlowLink, Sigma, which is now part of Hawk, FlowAV, Campbell Scientific, D-Tektronix, Sutron, and Kisters.
Wow, Kevin, so that's pretty impressive. That must be. It's really nice to be able to connect to all those tools or systems vendors directly and not have to worry about that. Other than
Absolutely.
those methods of collecting data, are users able to incorporate public data sets into FlowWorks as well?
Yeah. So that's right, Trent. So this next section, we get into that. These are cloud services and public data sets, and so some clients store their data in the cloud solution already, and they want it, or the data might already exist in the cloud through a public service, and people want to bring that into FlowWorks. And so data from cloud services or external sources can be passed into FlowWorks through just basically links that we create, web services we call them. And this is all done, of course, in the background over the internet. And we currently have integrations with Hawk's FS Data platform, Neon, HoboLink, Data Current, as well as the USGS, which allows people to bring in weather data, and USGS, I'm sorry, in the case of USGS, it's going to be stream gauge data, and under NOAA, that's going to be weather service data, including rain gauge data, and Environment Canada, which is like the NOAA for Canada, and there's also rain gauges available there. So all of that public data, in this case the public data is USGS, NOAA, Environment Canada, it can and is currently linked into FlowWorks for people to use their tools with other data sets they might have, including their flow meters or other environmental type sensors. So thanks for asking that, Trent.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, it helped a nice way to supplement the network. Yeah,
so Trent, maybe you can talk a little bit about what most people see when they open up their FlowWorks application.
Yeah. So here, like you said, is the general map view that you'll see as soon as you log in. The sites are differentiated by letter as well as color. So for on this map, for example, the station types with those letters, W stands for water, S stands for sewer, H for hydrometric, R for rainfall, D for drainage, F for facility, and C for climate. And then also the colors. So the colors green means active, so the site is performing how you'd expect. Yellow, the data is arriving late. Blue shows the data is being manually pushed to us. Gray shows the site is no longer active. Red shows the site is in an alarm state. And then orange is a notification where it has not yet reached that alarm state. So it's just a nice quick overview. If you want to click on one of those sites and kind of drill down into it a little bit, you can click on it, and then this is the screen that you get. So you'll see on the bottom, it provides the 4 channels that we have. It also shows the most recent value that was received and the date and time stamp that it was received. You'll also notice it lists the site name, the site type. It'll list your Latin long, and then also the collection method. So this is just a nice quick overview, but say if you wanted to kind of drill down and graph the data for, say, today, the last 7 days. But for this one, we'll click on the last 30 days. And so when you click on that, it'll take you directly to our graphing interface, which does now incorporate HTML5, so there's no restriction on which internet browsers that you can use. So with this, you'll see the 4 channels plotted on their own individual axis. And it's just kind of a nice, quick way to visualize your data. And then, if need be, you can kind of adjust from here. But it's just a nice, quick overview look at the data.
Yeah, it is. It's good. This is something, obviously, that a lot of people look at. It's, as you point out, a really good visual tool. There's also, I see that there's some toolbars at the top of this particular screen. What do these allow people to do?
Yeah, so since we jumped into the graphing just from the map view, you can click the new option to jump into a different graph where you can select a different site, different channels. You're also able to open a saved graph. So if you've saved parameters in the past, you can quickly open it without redoing it again. You can save this graph template. You're able to print the graph. You can add a note. And then you're also able to export. So if you wanted to export this data into Excel, for example, you'd click that drop-down. And then when you click the drop-down, you have the ability to choose from the data in the period, which is those 30 days, or if you'd like, you know, there's 2 days where there was just a heavy amount of rainfall. You can zoom in on those 2 days and simply export that data. So when you click on the export, here is what you'll see in Excel. So like we mentioned before, it exports the 4 channels into their own column. It'll list the site name for you, and then it provides those timestamps. And so for this one, it's collecting data every 15 minutes, and it just kind of nicely organizes it there for you. So from here, you know, yeah, so I mean, you can export the data, and we have the regular graphing, but also we can touch on, there's some in complex graphing as well, but before we go to that, let's go to the data viewer. So below the graphing option, if you click on the data viewer key, this is the drop-down that you'll see. Again, the 4 channels, but this way it'll just put the data numerically quickly for you without having to export it to Excel. And then if you'd like, it also generates the min, average, the max, and total for those values as well during that time period. So again, just a nice quick way to review your data.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, so now we'll go into the scatter plots that I was referring to before, the graphing where it's not just regular graphing. So Kevin, I guess if you could tell our viewers a little bit about what scatter plots we have available within FlowWorks.
Yeah, and I feel like I've been looking at scatter plots for most of my adult life. They're one of the more often used tools by data analysts and people that are just trying to get a quick idea of what's going on. They can be used for a number of things. They can be a quick sort of a QA/QC check to tell whether or not you got your meter set up at a good application or a good monitoring location, or sometimes they can tell you about the performance of your flow meter. But you know, typically what people will do is that they'll in the case of flow meters, they'll do a scatter plot that like you see in this case, where you've got depth versus velocity, and you get that plotted out here, as you can see, with all the little red dots there. And so you get clusters and patterns, and people that get paid, you know, sometimes a lot of money to do this for a living and analyze this stuff every day can generally just look at a scatter plot like this and know incredible amounts of information about what's going on at that particular site. But just know that we can do this. And the other thing that is really powerful that a lot of people love is this ability for us to let people also drop things like Manning curves and overlay them with their scatter plots. And so in this case, we're showing with 2 Manning curves. And Manning curves are a way of basically comparing the flow meter data that you're actually getting to what is anticipated to be the actual flow at this particular location based on the Manning equation, which uses a number of different variables, but one of the most important ones being the depth of the flow to estimate what the flow might be. So again, people that look at these things all the time find these very powerful, and our ability to drop multiple Manning curves on here is very useful to a lot of people. One of the other things that a lot of our customers like to do is incorporate GIS. And so if you've got GIS data, which most of our municipal customers do, so you know, this is your pipelines and your manholes, facilities, et cetera, all this other stuff, we can display that as overlays on your site map, and they can be toggled on or off, just by just through the interface. So this is the same mapping interface that you were showing us earlier, Trent, and this can be done right from that map. And you can also you can zoom in, and you can keep zooming in, and this will, again, this also shows you can see sort of on the right-hand side there, one of our sites is there, marked with an S. But you've also got this nice map of all the different assets that this particular city has in this GIS layer.
Very cool.
So, yep, yeah, it is. Looking at other reports, we've got a number of different types of reports that are super easy to generate. Just we could talk again for an awful long time about them. Just sort of show our viewers here today just what some of these capabilities are. You can combine multiple sites and channels and choosing from a variety of statistical methods and group your data across different periods of time. So in this case, we've got, we're choosing 5 sites, which have been grayed out there on the left or blurred out. These are all flow channels in this case, and we would be creating basically a summary report that you would see right here that is a daily report that's broken down by hour. And just another example of something that you could do, this is looking at 3 different sites, and we're just looking at precipitation on a monthly basis, and we're looking at the sum of precipitation over the course of 1 month, and it would look something like this. And so you've got a month's worth of precipitation data here, and it's broken down and summarized on the left-hand side by day. And these are, very easy to change the periods that you're monitoring, the number of sites, and you've also got the ability to save these reports and just, keep doing things with them. Now, Trent, most of the people listening today, and I would say almost all of our current customers, are really, really, really interested in rain. Rainfall statistics, everything that has to do with rain. And that's a big part of what we do at FlowWorks. And I'm going to hand this over to you, and you can talk a little bit some of our rainfall-related tools.
Yeah. So the first one we'll touch on is our rainfall statistics report. So as you can see here from this little screenshot, you're able to quickly go through. You can select the site, and then you can select the channel that's going to be related to rain, and then you're able to choose the year, the month, and then you can also actually have it highlight when rainfall exceeds X number of inches per hour, or whatever metric you would like to use. You're actually able to have it where it highlights that in the report. So once you specify that information and you click the report, it'll generate a printable monthly summary report of the rainfall data. It includes hourly totals by day, and then also includes maximum amounts of rainfall over various durations. So that's what you'll see on the right side is the maximum, and then the hourly rainfall totals are on the left. So this is just, it's a quick review tool of the rainfall. It's something that's, very useful, but it's a nice, easy tool to use. But next, we'll hop on to our IDF tool. So for this tool, it is used to compare current rainfall events to historic events, and then it just really helps the user understand truly how impactful a storm was. So you'll see the red line is the current storm. All of those other lines, those are historical IDF data, which is usually obtained from a National Weather Service. So the red storm is the one that we're measuring. As you can see at the 5-minute mark, it's above a 2-year and a 5-year event. As you go to the 10-minute mark, it actually eclipses a 10-year event and even roughly right around a 25-year event. So again, this is just a kind of a way to show you how intense that storm was for that short duration. As you see, as it goes on, it becomes less and less intense. It kind of falls below all of those. And then below, you'll see that there's a chart, which just really helps you kind of look at the data in numerical values as well. Kind of gives you an idea of what you're looking at.
Yeah.
So then the next, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. So the rainfall mass balance tool is another tool that's, and these are all just, really great ways to just quickly check and look at the network that you have. And so what this tool does is it compares rainfall for individual sites to the cumulative average of a selected group of rainfall sites that are all relatively in close proximity. So with this tool, you would expect all of the rainfall values to be relatively similar just because they all should be receiving relatively the same rain because they are all so close together. So with this one, it starts out that way. You can see everything seems to be appearing how you would expect. But as you get further down the average, you'll see that the Greystone station, that green line, it differentiates quite a bit from the other stations. So one thing that can kind of be an indication of is there might be a problem with the rain gauge, something going on with that station. So that can just be a quick way for you to realize you might need to send someone out to take a look. So before we jump into maybe what is the most exciting rainfall tool we have, I'll pass it to you, Kevin, so you can talk with us a little bit about I&I and how FlowWorks goes about helping our users with that.
Okay. 1 second here as I get something.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Sorry about that, Trent. Just had a little bit of a small hiccup.
No problem.
I'm going to talk about the I&I estimator. And so I&I definitely related to rain, and it's something that's super important to people that are monitoring flow. Most people that are doing sewer flow monitoring are going to do something related to inflow and infiltration monitoring. And so this tool allows you to estimate inflow and infiltration. And you can see right here what you do as a user is you can pick storm events over here on the left side. And these are storm events with a start and an end date, and flow measurement that's associated with them. And then you can choose what dry weather pattern to compare them to. And then as we go here on the estimator, so we can estimate the I&I and with sewer flow data using what we call the envelope method. It's also sometimes called the Q versus I method. And this is going to, as you can see on here, this graph shows you on the top in blue coming down is your hourly rainfall. So this is for one particular site. And then your dark blue on the hydrograph there is the actual flow. And the green represents the dry weather flow pattern that you're using for this particular site and for the estimator. And then in sort of a brighter red or lighter red, you've got your, and so this is the more jagged red graph here, you've got your 1 hour average rainfall-derived infiltration and inflow. And then the smoother red line you see there is also it's RDII, but it's basically a 24-hour average. And then using the RDII and the inflow data, our estimator can then create these curves. And these curves allow you to basically look at multiple sites here and allow the user to estimate what the I&I is going to be for future storms and for different sites. And this is probably one of our most used tools, especially we're getting into late winter here and people are starting to ramp up for what we sometimes call I&I season. And so we're going to start getting into rainfall, we're going to start getting into snow melt and things of that nature, and we're going to have a lot of people using the I&I estimator. So Trent, that brings us to, I think, one last rainfall tool. You want to talk about it?
Yeah. So this is a rainfall isohedral map. It's something that we have, created within the FlowWorks platform. It's also known as contour maps. But the purpose is to show rainfall values spread over a geographic area. Users first specify the time period of interest, and then they'll select any or all rainfall stations that they'd like to reference. Once they've specified that, the corresponding rainfall surface map is generated. And for this map, we are using contour lines to illustrate rainfall over a city. So the red bands indicate areas of greater rainfall, and then the green bands represent areas of lighter precipitation. So it's a nice tool, another visual for your stations and just kind of seeing which stations need to be a higher priority when it comes to the rainfall.
Excellent. Okay, that's great. Okay, so the slide, what's next? This is a really, really exciting time at FlowWorks, and for those of you that don't know, I joined FlowWorks last summer, and one of the reasons I did was because of this. FlowWorks is investing, large sums of time and money into this next generation of analysis tools, and in some cases, these are going to be things that our audience has never even imagined before or even heard of. I mean, we are. We're taking this technology to a new level that's going to be really exciting. So, really soon, and I mean within months and continuing well into the future, so months, the rest of this year and years to come, we're going to be incorporating what's called machine learning into the suite of tools that are, really they're going to forever change the face of flow and hydrometric monitoring and modeling. And so with these tools, our customers are going to be able to automate tasks that previously took weeks to accomplish. So imagine some of the things that that you or people that work with you or for you are literally, if they're not spending hours or days and sometimes weeks analyzing data, if that can be done accurately and very quickly in literally minutes, they're going to really change the face of what's out there and what's capable of being done. The ability to reliably predict events based on a combination of historic and forecast data is going to become really commonplace as well. I mean, we're showing a screenshot of a tool that we're close to releasing, but we're going to have a lot of tools that look like this. They're basically going to take historic data that could be, in this case, it's historic weather data and historic flow data. And then by using machine learning and understanding and doing pattern recognition and understanding those patterns and the relationships between those things, we can look at short-term forecast data. So data that might be coming from the National Weather Service that is forecasting weather for the next 5 to 10 days. And then we can start predicting what flows are going to look like, and more importantly, we can start predicting, whether or not weather events are going to have a substantial impact, like overflows or flooding, or any number of things that could go wrong for any of our clients. And so this is coming really soon, really fast, and it's going to be a big part of what FlowWorks becomes. And it's quite exciting.
So Kevin, before we jump to the next slide, if one of our listeners is interested in kind of finding out more and keeping updated on when these things are happening and they're not currently receiving communication from us, what's the best way for them to be in contact or make sure that they're up to date when we release these tools?
Oh yeah, right. Good point. So this year we started a monthly newsletter, and the idea behind the newsletter is to do just what you said, Trent. It's to tell people about what new tools that we're introducing. In some cases, we talk about tools that already exist that maybe our customers are not aware of and how they're used. And as often as possible, we like to do case studies where we can share with our customers how other customers are using FlowWorks to run their systems better, or just all the different tools they use and how it makes their lives easier and more efficient. So they can go to our website at flowworks.com, and there's a little sign-up section for signing up for a newsletter, and it's as simple as that. And it'll just arrive every month, and we've got a couple thousand people that are receiving that right now. It's pretty exciting. So Trent, most webinars like this tend to skip over things like pricing, and they're the types of things where we tell people we'll talk to you offline about pricing, we'll have individual discussions with you about pricing, but we're not going to do that, are we? We're going to tell our customers exactly what it takes to use FlowWorks. And Trent, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, no, definitely. So just so we're as clear as possible, we'll make it easy for them. So with setting up a site on FlowWorks, there's a $100 site setup fee. It includes 1 year of historical data per site. And then you pay a monthly per site fee that includes 24/7 secure access. But that fee is $30 per month per site. So the $100 to set up one time, $30 per site per month, it gets you that 24/7 secure access. You get multiple users with role-specific privileges. You're able to customize and set alarm notifications via text or email. You can do unlimited data downloads in case you want to back up your data. 1 year, you're also able to use FlowWorks standard reporting and analysis tools. And then one of the nice things about FlowWorks for any kind of short-term study you might have or something like that, there's no long-term contracts, no licensing fees, and no maintenance fees. So if you have a project that's 3 months flow study, you're able to set those sites up, get that 3 months in, and then once you're ready to close it, you just email us, and then we can shut it down, no problem.
Excellent. That's cool. So that's great. So now we've got all these people that are watching this, and they're interested in getting started with FlowWorks. And Trent, maybe you can tell them a little bit about our trial.
Yeah. So as Kevin mentioned, the flowworks.com website, it has that newsletter sign up, but also you'll see a nice big green button that says to get started with your free trial. When you click on that, this is the screen that you'll get. For our demos, we offer using our own demo data, or we're also able to incorporate the customer's data. That's usually a little more powerful, but we're able to do both. So you'll just specify that. You'll list your email, the first name and last name, and then someone from our team will reach out to you and get that process started to get you set up with the trial. And the one thing that's nice about our trial rather than some others is, usually when you start a free trial, you're clicking around, you try and go to one of the tools, and then you try and use it, and it says upgrade to use tool. Well, unlike that, our FlowWorks trial, you're able to use all of our tools for the full 90 days. There's no limits on what you can do. You get access to the full program. So it really gives you a nice look at to see if this is something that you can use for the current project you're thinking of, or also maybe potential future projects as well.
Yeah, and it's obviously a pretty powerful thing too, Trent, because I can't think of any day that I've been here in FlowWorks where I haven't, seen at least one person signing up for a free trial. So, we're doing these, every day, and sometimes for multiple people. So it's obviously a good thing. All right. So with that, it's time to look at questions. So we started to get a couple in, and I'm just kind of looking at the list here. Trent, I've got a question here that I'll take, and while I'm doing that, maybe you can look at see up the next one. But I got a couple of people asking sort of similar question about using data from multiple device manufacturers. Some people are saying multiple flow meter manufacturers, rain gauges, so the gist of this is that. And one of the most powerful things about FlowWorks is our ability to bring in data from almost any type of device, any type of logger, okay, so any type of flow meter in this case, and allow our customers to use our tools, our graphs, all the tools that we just talked about against all of that data. So for instance, if you've got flow meters from ADS and ISCO and Hawk, for instance, all three of those, all of that data can be brought into FlowWorks, and FlowWorks doesn't care where it came from. So with that same data, you can run the tools that we do, the I&I tool, in the case of multiple types of rain gauges, or maybe rain data coming in from public sources. We can use all of our tools like the IDF tools and the other rainfall tools. And so a huge powerful thing here is this ability to, and the fact that we're data agnostic. We don't care where the data comes from. We just give you, the tools to use across that.
Yeah,
what do you got,
that's powerful. Yeah. So a couple questions, or it seems like they're relatively around the same topic. Is so say, I mentioned that it's a short-term project, 3 months, and they want to export that data. They want to have, that data backed up on their own servers, because once they're done with FlowWorks, they're not going to be using that anymore. So with FlowWorks, you're able to export your individual sites data. You can export all your sites in bulk into a zip file, or you can have it be in individual files, so you have individual Excel files per site. So yeah, we're not interested in holding data hostage. Like you said, we're just here to provide tools to use on that data. So it is your data. You're able to export it once you're done. There's nothing against that. No problem at all.
Yeah, you bring up a really important point there too, and I hear this a lot, in municipalities in particular, but even engineers and other contractors and whatnot. This idea of who owns data, and we make it very clear in our service license agreement that we enter into with our customers, that our customers own their data. It's their data. We don't own it. And it's yours to manipulate and do whatever you want with, and export and take away or store it with us as long as you want to. Okay, somebody wanted, so we had a bullet point on there about multiple users and multiple roles, and somebody wanted just a little bit more explanation about what that meant. And yeah, really what all that means is that if you're a FlowWorks customer, you don't have to have just one login. In fact, it's best that you not have just one login, because you're probably going to have multiple people that want to use it. And so you can create multiple logins, for different people. And what's really powerful about that, though, is that not everybody has to have the same access to all the data. And so while you might have access to all the data, one of your colleagues or subordinate, or even somebody in another company, like an engineering firm, for instance, that you're working with, you can give them a login, and they could see a smaller subset of data, just depending on what their need to see data is. And you get to define that. And if you've got them set up, if you've got another user set up to look at a smaller amount of data, that's all they'll see. When they log in, that's all that's available to them. So you don't have to worry about them seeing or having access to data that you prefer that they not. So hopefully that explains that a little bit. Trent, do you have any more questions coming through?
Yeah, the last one that I got is, it shows So let me read through that real quick. Yeah, so we mentioned that with setting up a site that you can include 1 year of previous data. So this question is if they have, say 5, 6, 7 years of data that they would like to incorporate. Is that possible? Is that included, or kind of what that is? So, and like we said in the slide, is there is only, when setting up a site for the cost of the $100, it includes 1 year of historical data. So if you did want to increase or include more data, we can do that, but there's just a nominal fee to do so. So it's not a problem, but it is for with you set up a site, there is only 1 year included in that $100. So hopefully,
well, that's kind of a big deal.
That.
I mean, that's pretty powerful though, and I think it's an important thing to think about too. So if you're thinking about joining FlowWorks and bringing your flow meters, into, or whatever your instruments are, into FlowWorks, obviously we will start recording the data as soon as you turn it on, and you've got the data that's coming from the meters and being sent to them. Hang on one second, and hear something. Okay. So you might have historical data for the same sites that you've been collecting that might be on your hard drive, or it might be on another service. You can bring that data in and have it accessible to all of the FlowWorks tools that are out there. So I think that's a big deal. Okay, Trent, last question. What I'm looking at here is just based on billing. So we talk about our $30 a month per site billing, and here's somebody that says that being billed every month would probably be a hassle for my organization. Is it possible to pay at a different interval? And so, yeah, the short answer is yes. I mean, if most of our customers do the monthly billing, but we do have people that prefer to pay us a year at a time. And so, if you'd rather pay for 12 months all at once, and if that's easier for your accounting system or whatever the bureaucracy might be, we're happy to accommodate that. We're very customer centric, and we're going to do what we can do to make things easy for you to use FlowWorks and to love FlowWorks. Okay, that's all the questions I'm looking at. I think we've cleared them all. Everybody, I'd like to thank you for taking your time out of your day to participate in this. I hope you'll go to our homepage, sign up for our newsletter, and also sign up for a free trial. Trent, any closing comments?
No, really appreciate the time, Kevin. Very insightful, and yeah, we're looking forward to working with any and everyone who may be interested in starting a trial or finding out more.
That's great. All right. Thanks, everybody. Look forward to hearing from you.